Hey, it's mxmtoon, and you're listening to Asia's own chart show, Asia Pop 40.
Asia Pop 40.
It's still really unreal. I mean, I've been doing this, so I'm so lucky to have been doing it for like almost 7 years now at this point. I am still blown away that there are, people who've been listening for a long time, such as yourself, and also new people who are still finding my music for the first time. I feel endlessly lucky that I get to do this. They were teachers for a very long time. Both my parents have found like different professions in the past couple of years as my mom has transitioned to being like a principal of a school, and my dad is doing some more hands-on work doing set design for other companies and stuff like that. So very exciting to see them travel down those pathways in the same way that like I'm traveling down music, and all of us are navigating these different kind of scenarios and environments that we never expected to do. But I did grow up with both of them being teachers for a long part of my life, and when I told them that I was going to be doing music, that was a big conversation to have because they thought that I would go to college, and they've been nothing but supportive, but understandably were really shocked when I told them that I was wanting to pursue music full time, just because it came kind of out of nowhere, but they've been so supportive since then. Totally. They were like, all right, well, if you're not going to get like a 4.0 or A pluses in school, you might as well just go viral on YouTube. So that was totally fine with them. Yeah. I have thought about like what other forms my life can take. I think it's, I'm so lucky to do music. I feel like that is a huge passion of mine, but I also like, I don't know, will I do this forever? I'm not really sure. I think it's so exciting to think about all the different ways that my life can take form in its other pathways and stuff. And teaching is something I do feel really passionate about. So maybe I'll be a music teacher for younger kids one day. I have no idea. So I feel very open to that, but I'm also really grateful to be doing what I do right now. But I feel like it is so much about encapsulating this kind of in between of being in the process of doing something or trying to find answers and not really quite getting there, but being in the suspension of just the unknown. And I think it is fun too to like, it's definitely based off the like internet culture and referencing the back rooms and everything, but also cool to incorporate my love of just like design and physical spaces and architecture being something that I did think I was going to do at one point in my life, and knowing that I definitely probably wouldn't pursue that if I was to go back to school anymore, but it is cool to think of ways to incorporate it into what I do for work now. Yeah. I was in a really difficult time where I'm so close with my parents. I'm so close with my mom, especially. And last year, I received news that my mom just got diagnosed with cancer. And so it was a really pivotal moment where, my family, my whole family, especially my mom, was at this crossroads of like, well, what do we do now? And how do we support each other and show up for one another? And I think, at least for me growing up, it felt like my parents especially were like invincible, just untouchable, and would exist in their like strongest form for as long as I live. And to all of a sudden be approached with this earth-shattering reality that like my mom was going to be battling something that was really going to change her and her experience and change everyone else in my family's life as well. And so really thinking like I just didn't expect at the age of 24 to be having to ask myself these questions of, am I going to move back home to support my parents? Am I, how much time do I have left? Like, what are all of these complications that are coming up? Like, how do I deal with it? And how do I approach it while also balancing what I want to do in my life, and how do I live my life for myself outside of living it for my parents? And so now's not the time was really about having those hard discussions and not knowing how to approach them sometimes with my parents when I knew my mom was going through a really tough time too. And so I've always felt very open with my parents, but I think even the close relationships that you have in your life can still come into these moments where you aren't sure how to talk with them. So it was a really important song for me to make, and I think it did open up the conversation with my mom in a real way that I needed to have opened up, and that wouldn't have been possible without the song. So I'm really grateful to it. Yeah, I mean, so Passenger Side is one of the lighter songs on the record. I think it was a really important thing for me when making an album that was going to be so heavy on the kind of subjects I was dealing with, to also put some like fun moments in there. And obviously so many of the songs are about hard conversations I've had, and I think one of the other relationships in my life that defined the last couple of years for me was I was in a long-term relationship with a guy for almost a few years, and I was just so aware of the fact that I was doing everything for that relationship on an emotional lens, from a physical lens. Like I was just carrying it on my back. And I remember writing Passenger Side being one of the first like breakup songs that I've ever written in my like career so far. And just thinking like, Okay, how could I express everything that I wanted to say while I was in that relationship from a new, fresh perspective now? And so making a song that was just all about not wanting to have to be in the driver's seat of, you know, steering a partnership with another person. So I have no idea if my ex has listened to that song or if he's aware of it at all, but I wrote it for me. Yeah.